Hi, and welcome to another episode of Better Informed. Myself, Rick Waind, here at Better Homes. I'm delighted to be joined by Matt Gregory. Welcome, Matthew.
Thank you very much, Rick. Glad to be here.
Why don't you tell everyone who you are, Matt?
So my name is Matt Gregory. I'm the Director of Property over at Dubizzle. Very much looking forward to chatting to Rick here about what the coming 12 months in the lead up to 2020.
Because that's it. Today's the day. We are exactly 1 year away today from the opening of the Expo. But, what is it? What is Expo, Matt?
What is Expo? To me, Expo is an opportunity for Dubai to open up, I suppose, their doors to the rest of the world, right? It's always been a very open country.
Yep.
Lots and lots of tourism, as we know, lots of people coming to invest. But I think this is a global stage to really put Dubai on the map, hosting what is hundreds of other nations, many other nations, into what is a 6-month expose of the world, I suppose. That's what it means to me. Admittedly, before I came, little was known about it, but I suppose as soon as you land, you can't not help but know that something's coming on.
Half the planes now say Expo, so when you're going in, there's no getting away from it. When
you walk through the airport, you can't not but notice. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's the first time in this part of the world we've been an Expo. I think it's 190 countries coming to.
Don't quote me
on
the number.
I'll tell you what, Better Homes will put our name to that one. I understand there's roughly 190 countries coming from all over the world to exhibit what they're doing, their industries, their future technologies here. So it's going to be an interesting thing.
It should be, and I think 1 year ago, well, as you said, 1 year
to go. Yeah.
1 year to go. Lots going on. I think tonight there's a concert with Mariah Carey.
Down there. It's down there, Matt.
It is.
We can actually see it from our seat.
Probably could see it
in downtown.
There is a lot going on, and the advertising campaign kicked off with Lionel Messi. So clearly the UAE are mad keen behind making sure that it's on a global stage. You don't get Lionel Messi and Mariah Carey unless you're backing them.
No, I'd probably have Lionel Messi over Mariah Carey. That's a personal. That's a personal.
I'd rather have Mariah Carey, but anyway, each to their own.
Right, Matt. Now, look, in terms of we're 1 year out. I get asked a lot. A lot of people ask me, what's the Expo effect in terms of the property market? And I'll be honest. I think in the last 2 years there are bigger things affecting the market so far than Expo. Probably the oversupply imbalance that we've seen over the last couple of years. A lot of new properties coming onto the market. Yep. At the same time, we've seen some dampening in the international real estate demand stage. And what we're really seeing today is prices for me are the biggest driver in this market. Yep. You'll see the prices on Dubizzle, but we're certainly seeing prices now at a 5-year low, probably 35-40% down from peak in 2014. Yep. That is actually starting to really drive some interesting activity in transactions. Mm-hmm. We've seen transactions up quite well over the summer, but I don't think it's Expo that at this stage has necessarily been driving that.
I agree with you, Rick. I think that there is, the softening of prices is causing more people to come into the market. I think there's a number of things that is giving people a little bit more confidence about coming into the market. I think the government are doing their thing. Yes. 5-year visas, 10-year residency visas, retirement visas, all over the last, say, 12 months. Yep. We've just recently had, I think last week, the banks come out and say that actually if you're going to finish your mortgage early, you don't have to pay 3% anymore, it's 1%.
Which was welcome. I mean, it was originally 1% a couple of years ago. And then they changed it to 3. Now, obviously, they've changed it back.
So I think the one thing for an expat out here, especially, is the down payment.
Yeah.
Right? So as prices soften, it means you might have that money in the bank in order to put down roots that you've always wanted to. And I think that what we've seen on Dubizzle as well is what were before unaffordable areas becoming affordable, both for buyers and for renters. So tenants are now able to move around, get a better deal. People like their landlords, if they're not prepared to lower their prices, then not only in their local community can they shop around for something better, but actually, they can now go to areas that they might have deemed unaffordable before. So there's that movement within the market as well, driven by, as you say, is the softening of prices, which is, let's face it, is not the Expo effect.
No.
Right? It is the economic effect. It's the fact that actually, over the last few years, we've seen a bit of a bubble. The market is maturing that little bit more, enabling people to feel more comfortable that actually for another 12 months they're able to sign up to an apartment or a villa in a community that they might not have been able to afford.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that's of benefit.
We've also started, not started, actually from January this year, we started to see a real shift from tenant registration to buyer registration. And the first 6 months of this year, our buyer registration was up 35%, sort of month on month, year on year. Now, it didn't necessarily in the first couple of months convert into transactions, but it really has started to convert into sales transactions over the last 3 or 4 months. And we're seeing a lot of activity. We're seeing a lot of activity from domestic residents looking to buy their first home, but also investors, first-time investors, quite often buying at a fairly lower price point. So 6, 8, $1 million. But great yields, and some of the yields that you're now getting in places like Dubai Marina and downtown here are just incredible. And I agree. I think it's that is driving the market today, and people waking up to that value that they're seeing in the market.
And I think you use a good word there in value, right? I think that people want value for money, regardless of if you're in Dubai or you're back home in Manchester or London, right? People want value.
Absolutely.
And I think that the economy now is driving value, and I think that also developers have cottoned on to value. Because now it's not about 5, 10, 20 million penthouses, it's about affordable. And affordable drives market, and market means that people feel more confident, and hopefully the flywheel gets going, that the investors start to come back in order to pluck out those 20 million dirham penthouses. And so I think there's a lot to look forward to over the coming 12 months. I'm a real, my glass is very much half full. I think we've got a lot to look forward to. It's 365 days out from what is going to be a global carnival here held in Dubai. There's a lot of positives to draw from that. So I'm looking forward to it.
The event itself. Anything you're particularly looking forward to?
Me personally on the event.
Apart from Mariah
Carey, clearly, just experiencing it. I think I think that there is going to be a buzz around the town. I was lucky enough to live in London during the Olympics. That was phenomenal, as you were there.
I was there,
the buzz around the city was incredible. I think for that 3 weeks, month, in the lead up just before, it was incredible. And I think that we'll see that
here. It's the best place in the world for that summer. Undoubtedly. 100%. And I agree with you. I think this is going to be a carnival. I think the carnival here for 6 months, we'll have the Expo going on, but there'll be events, there'll be things on the beach. It will put a smile on the face of everybody living here.
And I think that the UAE government is going to invest in that, right? I mean, a year out, we have playing behind us in a few hours' time, Mariah Carey. You don't bring her, and if you look at the amount she charges per concert, I'd imagine there's a number of figures on the end of that, one or two.
I guess so,
they are going to invest money. They want to make it global. They want to make sure that actually Dubai is well and truly on the map. And I think because of that, what I'm looking forward to is just being here.
What happens afterwards? I mean, the sort of the naysayer. So again, if I go back to my friend who works there, he's quite cautious for afterwards, but he works and lives with everyone that works at Expo. And post-Expo, they're all going to be leaving because they'll be on to the next one, they'll be on to the next event, they'll probably on to the World Cup or what have you. And I think in his circle, he's very much in the view that what will happen is people leave. Now, I've personally got a slightly different view. I look at Dubai and I look at the demographics of Dubai and I look at my staff. And normally if I get my staff in a room and I ask the question, who came to Dubai first on holiday or on business and enjoyed it, like the climate, enjoyed the social life, the cultural life, the tax-free element of it, and said actually who then decided to stay. 60% of the hands go up because that's Dubai, isn't it? That's Dubai is built with people who came here, liked it, thought quite a fancy piece of that, and come and work it ourselves in business here. So my view is that if we can get it right in those 60 million people. 16 rather million people. Don't quote me on the 60 million. 16.
I've got it as 25, but anyway, we're mixed up.
Well, I heard it was 25, but 9 million of the UAE residents. That's what I understood. Okay. So I don't know, but let's say it's cautionary. 16 million people. Is it reasonable to suggest that 1 or 2% of those decide actually? I quite fancy living here. Well, I think that's probably it. You were talking to me about.
I think that looking at those figures, let's say that it's 16 million. Right. And 1% of those people,
160,000.
160,000. there's around 130 units.
Yeah.
This is on a off-plan basis, due to be delivered between now and the end of 2021. Right. Assuming that 1% want to come in, we're short.
Yeah.
Right. So, my crystal ball doesn't go as far as to say 2 years down the line, 18 months down the line when it finishes. Right. So we got a year today, 6 months till it actually finishes, and I think that only then, in the 6 months after that, will we know what the overall effect is. And if you're looking at Expos, what they brought to economies, there are some positive stories, and there are also some reasonably bad ones.
Yeah.
Right. I think that the investment that actually we're going to put into it as a country, as an emirate, is going to give us the opportunity to realise some of that change that people are likely to come in and say, hey, I like the weather, it looks really nice here, there's beaches, there's X, there's Y. The reasons why you and I are here.
Yeah. I think we'll probably wrap this up in a minute, but I think the big difference between me and we were talking about, sometimes these have been successful, sometimes they haven't, and people often mention Milan to me. And, there's a big difference between Milan and Dubai when they do this. Firstly, the UAE will do this properly. They are going to go at this, and I think we won't have seen an Expo like this one. I think that's just no. But the other side to it is Milan is not an expat city, and it's not. People aren't going to go to Milan and think actually, the biggest barrier to entry is you've got to speak Italian fundamentally. Yeah. Whereas actually the world speaks English, and I think most expats that will come here or people visiting here could quite easily see themselves living here. And for me, I actually think Expo is part of that longer term population growth plan. It's the biggest and best PR exercise that we can bring into the country. And I think they'll, I'm sure they'll get it right.
Well, look at the Dubai South Side. Yeah. I mean, that is a city in its own right? If IKEA think it's going to be big, then it's going to be big. Right?
Stick with IKEA. They always get it right. Meatballs and everything.
Middle of December, brand new IKEA, right outside the Expo side, in the lead up for the influx of people that are going to be coming in to buy houses. Yeah. Right. That'll be the second IKEA in the city, and I think that those guys seem to know where it's at. And then from a Dubizzle perspective, of course, we have all the listings for them to search on.
There you go. And if you don't, you can come and visit our website.
Well, exactly.
I mean, look, I think my very last point, I fully agree. I think we've got an exciting year ahead. I think there's going to be build up and build up and build up. There's lots of fun things to see. I think the fundamentals of the market today, though, remain driven by the value in today's market. Yep. I think Expo is a nice addition. I think it's a sort of cherry on the top. We really could make the next couple of years exciting. I agree with you. We don't want a return of exponential price hikes, and I don't think we will have that. I think the supply coming onto the market at the moment is building for the population of tomorrow, and it is necessary for that population of tomorrow. But what I think investors buying in today's market can find real value on a both historical but on a global sense as well. You're not going to find the quality of properties here in the environment you find here, the sort of price point you find here anywhere else in the world.
And I think that from a Dubizzle perspective, our audience is changing. In line with that value, in line with making sure that you can supply property for people of all different nationalities, looking for all different types of value. That's one of the things that we're seeing change, and I think that it leads back to making sure we have everything. From the value, the entry-level price point, right the way up to those that really want to seriously invest. And I think that's one thing that Dubai can offer, right the way across the demographic.
Spot on. Good.
Brilliant.
Right, shall we call it a day and go watch Mariah?
Absolutely, I'm looking forward to it.
Good stuff. Guys, thanks for listening,
very much.
and we'll speak soon. Bye-bye.